to say that Greene County has a lot of rural charm.
It's so nice down here.
We're kind of the little hidden gem of Pennsylvania.
A hidden gem where it's not too difficult to take a trip back in time.
We have paperwork going back to 1871.
The store has like a wiggly-waggly history, but back into the 1890s.
The thing there on the corner, we used to sell hats. More than a business, it's a part of Greene County history.
It is the general store, and if you think it's a thing of the past, you're wrong. General stores are thriving here. In fact, Greene County has so many general stores, more than a dozen of them, that it offers a self-guided driving tour.
Lancaster, Mechanicsburg, Erie, Beaver Falls, Port Royal, Quakertown. Most of them couples just out for a drive.
We paid a visit to just a few, and from the basics,
they kind of depend on us to be here for a gallon of milk or a loaf of bread.
to the unusual.
We have sump pumps. That's odd.
You'll never know what you'll find, but it's not really about the merchandise. It's about the stories of the store owners,
It's just the roots of the families.
the characters who clamor,
The bench is prime territory. You got to get here early to get the bench.
and the unexpected things that make each store unique.
People come in every day and all of a sudden they look up and say, oh my God, where did that turkey come from?
Join us for the next half hour as we visit General Stores of Greene County. We begin just off Interstate 79 in Ruff Creek, where early mornings mean more than just coffees brewing.
We come in with Raymond every morning, never miss a morning.
They help me out.
What do you do when you come here?
Oh, we fix the coffee,
Sit down.
sit down,
Tell lies.
tell lies.
Inside the Ruff Creek General Store, amid the canned goods and cleaning supplies, pig ears, and pigeon chow,
to drive a
you'll
new
find
truck, yeah.
conversation and so much
You'll
more.
like them. Keep your feet dry.
As owner Raymond Stockdale explains, this is a store with quite a distinction.
I contend it to be the oldest active general store in southwestern Pennsylvania. Now, on the Caldwell Atlas of Greene County, it lists the business, and that was in 1875.
And it's been up and operating non-stop ever since. Raymond's family didn't own it back then. The store was first opened by a man named Benjamin Shirk, who later gave the store to his two sons, who later sold it to another man. Raymond's dad, Jack, bought the business in 1959.
When my father came back from World War II, he went into a clerk training program as part of the GI Bill, which this store was part of it. So he came to work here in 1951. We lived upstairs. I was 4 years old. He worked here, and in 1959, he bought the business.
Raymond grew up working in the store, then went on to college and to work for Quaker State Oil. But when his father became ill, he decided it was time for a change.
Was gone about 10 years. He developed cancer in the early 70s and eventually called me and said if I was interested in the business, you know, make a move, make a decision. So we did. We came back. I wanted to spend some time with him, never thinking that 40 years later I'd still be here.
You were how old when you took over this store?
I was 28. I was young and dumb. Those were, you would actually get your oil in 55-gallon.
But Raymond wouldn't have it any other way. And everywhere you look, there are reminders of the days gone by. From the original counter,
Probably 100 years old or older, 8-foot slab of marble on top of it.
to old crates, signs, and more.
These items right here, these are buggy whips, new buggy whips for when they had horses. Yeah, had horses.
Raymond loves these things of the past, but he and his wife Karen have always focused on the future as they've retooled and expanded over the years.
gasoline is a very big business for us.
These days, feed is too. Several years ago, they added on this room.
We have everything from basic rabbit food, hog food, chicken food, horse food, cattle feed.
How long does it take to go through all of this?
This is about a week to about 2 weeks.
That's not to say there isn't plenty of food for people. Kathy Schaller works the deli counter. It does well too. And so what are some of your best sellers here?
The sausage. This breakfast sausage runs out of here all day long. I probably go through a good 75 a day.
Wow, so you're that busy.
Yeah, oh yes, oh yes.
And is it all just locals or?
Well, locals, and we have a lot of the pipeliners in and the well guys coming in.
Which helps when it comes to another top seller, boots.
When did you start selling boots?
We've sold boots forever. In August, I put out maybe 600-700 pair of boots from Rocky and Wolverine.
But they're not just anywhere in the store. They're right next to the deli case.
So guys are walking up and they're standing there waiting on their order and they see the boots. I've tried them over here on this side and they're like hid. They don't sell well. It's an impulse item. I treat it like an impulse item.
And how do you do with that?
We do really well. I did. It's a good day to make a buck.
But doing well for Raymond also means enjoying his customers.
Yeah, what?
See you later.
Try to stay out of trouble.
It's not hard.
As the day moves on, people on the bench come and go. The conversation changes, but there's just one rule.
Local politics I try to keep off the table because then everybody gets a little worked up over that. National politics, we talk.
Do you weigh in on the conversation or do you?
Sometimes I throw my 2 cents in, yeah. You got to.
What would the community be like if this place weren't here?
Terrible.
It'd be terrible. We would have no gathering place. You know, every place needs a gathering place of some sort.
Is there any place else in town to gather?
No, not here.
Blink your eyes, you've just seen town.
Which makes this place more than just a store. It makes it a community.
Come on now.
You can get one cheek.
It's been an ongoing focal point in the community.
No, I know.
You have to enjoy people if you're going to be in business for yourself, especially in a country general store. These people are part of my family.
Mention family, and the next place to visit is Jordan's General Store in Aleppo. So far out, there's no cell service here.
How's your mom?
But you will find sisters Terry and Bonnie Jordan living out a real-life Green Acres of sorts.
Originally, we are from Pittsburgh. We are from the South Hills section of Pittsburgh, Carrick.
So how in the world did they end up here? It was the idea and the dream of their late father, Lewis.
My oldest sister had moved down here with my niece, my nephew, and my brother-in-law. Here, we would come down every weekend, every other weekend to see my sister. And this came up for sale, and he said, hey girls, are you be willing to move to the country with me and open our own store and work? And that was it. That's all it took, and we've been here for 22 years now.
In the beginning, it was quite the adjustment.
At the time, it was like God's country, but you adapt. The only thing that I didn't like that much down here is TV. When we moved here, you had 2 channels, and they were not very good.
The sisters had a few quirks of their own that kept the locals laughing.
Neither Bonnie or I could drive.
Have a good
which
day.
Just blew their minds down here, because I was 28 when we moved here, and I mean, in the city, you either walked or you jumped on a bus. I mean, you didn't have to drive, and they just couldn't believe that we didn't know how to drive. But I learned, and now I don't drive anymore either. I don't like it.
But the sisters now love living here and owning and operating this store. A store that's been in the community since the early 1920s, once housing a pool hall and the post office.
Whoever owned the store was the postmaster at the time. So as it exchanged hands, well then different people became the postmaster, and then I'm not sure when they moved the post office out, but when the postmaster moved, she took the post office with her. So, but it's only 2 doors down. This was the old Aleppo High School.
The mail may be gone, but the town's memories remain here.
This is the Aleppo Church. It's right down the road.
The Jordans have
is
become
the
part-time historians,
46
keeping
football
and
game John
displaying
would've
old
been.
photos, memorabilia, and more.
On top of the shelf, there are all those bottles. They're all old bottles. When people were plowing their fields or cleaning out their basements and that, and they find them, they'll bring them and say, hey, you want to put these out? Just pictures people find of Aleppo back in the day. And would you put them out?
The greatest history lessons come by word of mouth.
People down here, they'll come in and sit down and they tell you stories of how it was back when these roads were dirt. All the roads were dirt. You traveled here by horseback.
Enter 85-year-old John Watson. He visits the store every day, earning him a special title.
All right, so why do they call you the mayor?
I don't know. Somebody has to be the mayor, I guess. They tell everybody I'm the mayor because I'm around all the time.
George was just in. That's the first I've seen him. And someone comes in and asks a question. If John doesn't know it, it didn't happen here.
I saw Jim yesterday, but I haven't seen Jim.
I haven't seen Jim and Ramona.
But plenty does, with the backdrop of original gas lamps hanging from the original tin ceiling. There's a lot to stock and sell.
That we just keep general stuff like general motor oil, general transmission fluid, you know, chainsaw oil, we need that, of course.
Horse feed, cow feed, chicken feed, a lot of animal feed. And if I don't have it in and you want it, I'll get it in.
All with store hours that aren't quite official. Terry lives down the road. Bonnie lives upstairs, which means sometimes they're open 24 hours.
Sometimes you have emergencies, people will call, and if I don't have it down here and I have it in my private stock, hey, you know what, it's yours.
In the end, the sisters say it's the socializing they enjoy most. A calendar hangs behind the counter, marking the birthdays of everyone in town. A town that's gone from being unfamiliar to the only place they want to call home.
I like it. I have horse rustled since I've been here. I have cattle rustled. The only thing I've never chased was the pigs.
Do something, John, you think it takes a while for them to accept you, but once they do, you're in. I mean, and it is so nice.
See you later.
Would I trade it? No. No, not that, not none of my customers. Well, maybe a few.
Think it's ever going to quit raining?
I doubt it.
From those who moved to Greene County to those who were born here.
I grew up in this area, just a few miles from here, went to West Greene High School.
Our next stop is in Graysville at the Graysville General Store, where nearly a decade ago, owner Dave Cipoletti reopened the doors to a business that first started back in 1871.
It was founded by a man named James W. Hayes, who actually went on to become a state senator. It's a big old building. It's changed names dozens of times.
Dave used to frequent this store as a kid. It was called Living Goods back then. Little did he know he'd one day be the owner.
My brother approached me about it. The store was actually closed down for a couple years.
So with the help of his brother Christopher, Dave decided to give it a go, bringing in touches of the past.
When I was a kid and shopped here, there was a deer head that hung on the wall that the owners had. And they always dressed it up, put funny glasses on it or a tie and a top hat.
The brothers decided to hang a new deer on the wall, but never expected what happened next.
The next thing you know, someone approached me and said, hey, I've got this, bear mount that my wife won't let me hang in the living room. Can I bring it down? Do you want to display it here? So I said, sure, and it just snowballed from there.
Snowballed into a store now filled with animal mounts of all kinds from all over the country and the world. There are ducks, caribou, a flying turkey. There's even a zebra from a local hunter's expedition in Africa. And then there's the giant elk.
Okay, there's nothing small about that.
No, that is a large and in-charge elk from New Mexico.
Do they ever freak you out?
You know what? The elk at first, when I would come in to open up in the morning, 5:15, it's all dark, and you turn the key and walk in the door, and there it is. It took me a while to get used to it.
Amid all the mounts, there's a lone stuffed toy given to Dave by a young customer.
One day he came in with his mom, and he had this stuffed bear, and he said, his mom said, Danny wants you to display his bear. This is his mount that he got. He wants it. And I was glad to take it, so we put it up on display.
The animals are a big draw, but they're not the only thing to bring in customers. Here, the coal mines and the Marcellus shale boom mean big business.
We have anything that caters to the coal mining industry, basically. Safety, equipment, gloves, safety wear, coal miner figurines, hats that say coal miner. Have we got an update on the orders?
And then there's the food.
products. We sell a ton of pizza, hot tubs. You know, we cater to the coal mines and the drillers that are in the area. We deliver to them their training centers that they have training classes, and we cater a lot of lunches for them. You know, and even if guys get stuck underground, have to work over, you know, shifts get changed, they'll call and order pizzas to feed a group of guys. So, yeah, they definitely keep us on our toes.
The mines in Marcellus Shale have brought about other changes too.
We had to, you know, update our point of sale equipment to be able to take some of the corporate fuel cards, but that's been a huge boost.
But all of the progress doesn't mean the store's lost all of its old-time charm. You'll still find things like old cash registers, old signs, and
The floors.
The floors,
Original?
yeah, these are I believe they're original. I posed that question to one of the elders in the community here who's in his late 80s, and he thought about it for a minute, and his reply was that when I was a young boy, these were old wooden floors then. So that's about all he could tell me. So, but as far as I know, they're original floors.
floors that have most likely been here for 140 years. Today, they hold new products under the watchful eyes of the animals. Dave couldn't have imagined it as a young boy. Now he can't envision it any other way.
Never in my wildest dreams did I dream that I'd be standing right here, you know, doing this now. I was young enough at the time to give it a shot, and it's worked out well.
It's also worked out well for the store owners we visit next, in a town whose name is rooted in the Bible.
Nineveh, God sent Jonah to talk to the wicked people, the whale story. That's Nineveh.
It's a tiny place with less than 100 people, and probably every single one of them visits Hopkins' store.
Everybody calls it a mom and pop thing. I guess it's just a little convenience store. We have a little bit of most items that people would want in between trips to a bigger grocery store.
Dottie Hopkins and her husband Sam, that's him there, he's a little camera shy, have known each other practically their whole lives.
Our families were friends when we were growing up.
Dottie even worked here while in school. What she maybe didn't know is that one day she and Sam would own it.
Sam's dad bought it in 1946, and they ran it for years. He retired in the early 80s, and somehow we got back in here, so we've been here for 25 years. That was an old coffee grinder.
There are items from the past on shelves above the store.
One man.
And a chest in the corner keeps old pictures. But these days, it's all about keeping current, which has meant some changes.
We have the sandwich shop, and we have an ATM machine and lottery. Cappuccino.
You have cappuccino.
In downtown Nineveh, we have cappuccino.
Do you sell a lot of cappuccino?
Not a lot, no. I drink it.
But the regular coffee and specialty sandwiches go like gangbusters, something Dottie attributes to her son Greg. He's a retired arena football champion who's given his parents lots of ideas on how to improve the business.
Making a number 5, a foghorn. Our son came up with these names. It's a chicken barbecue, and he calls it the foghorn. A lot of these items were our son's idea. He came up with the sandwiches, the different menus, and hand-dipped ice cream, roller grill. We have Bailey Mine near here, so we've had coal miners for years, and now with the Marcellus Shale mining, we have a lot of the miners, drillers, pipeline workers that are stopping to get something to eat.
That means lunchtime is a busy time for everyone in the store. Lots of locals visit too, and recently Dottie and Sam have met lots of customers just out for a drive.
This is the Pennsylvania General Stores Driving Tour Edition.
Greene County's general stores were profiled in Pennsylvania Magazine last year, bringing lots of tourists to the area.
I asked everybody that was in to sign the page I started for where they were from. I was just curious where people were coming from to downtown Nineveh. Lancaster, Mechanicsburg, Erie, Beaver Falls, Port Royal, Quakertown. Most of them couples just out for a drive.
The visitors no doubt saw the store's wall of fame of sorts. Young people are proud to see their pictures on display.
Some are school pictures and some are senior pictures. And a couple of them cut off Christmas cards. Some of the animals that have been bought at the county
Some
fair.
of their trophies and awards also have a place of honor. It's just part of what keeps this community close.
I think it's helped everybody just connect a little more. A lot of the same families have lived here for years. Just a place to check in and kind of ask about each other.
Check in at our final stop, Stokes General Merchandise in Windridge, and we can almost guarantee you'll smile. There you'll find owners Adam and Diane Stokes, and the real stars of the store, their daughters. 6-year-old Isabella is in school on the day we visit, but 4-year-old Emily Ann and 18-month-old Sarah are having a ball.
Do you work in the store? What do you do when you come to the store?
That's fun, except when they cry. No. Sarah fusses a lot, but she's a wee little baby. And but they play in the aisles and everything, and then when they want something, and we do things in between the customers. Oops.
Adam knows firsthand what it's like to be a kid here. Here he is as a little boy, and here's his sister Kristen. The store's been in their family since the 1890s. Their late parents took over the business in 1973.
Our store was much deeper, and there's my mom. That's my dad. Right from their wedding to having the store, it was a couple months in between. They said it was their first baby. And they have stories about me running around tearing up the store.
These days, Adam's still running around, only in a different way.
I get to do a little of this, a little of that.
And a whole lot of everything else. There's paperwork, taking care of customers, and taking stock of the merchandise.
We don't have the kitchen sink. We have everything to hook it up.
But Stokes is also known for its fresh fruit and fresh food and baked goods. Adam studied culinary arts in school. Now he and Diane cook up a storm.
We make homemade meatloaf, which was Adam's mom's recipe, turkey salad, ham salad, pepperoni rolls, the breads from scratch, peanut butter fudge, chocolate fudge, white chocolate fudge with pecans, pumpkin rolls, no-bakes, brownies, all of that from scratch.
We make wedding cakes. We've delivered wedding cakes all the way up. We've taken wedding cakes on the Gateway Clipper in Pittsburgh.
And where and how do you find the time to do this?
Sometimes we do it in the middle of the night with the lights off so nobody knows we're here.
Adam's sister and brother-in-law cover the morning shift, and all hands on deck are needed. Stokes also offers computer repair and notary services.
So you can come in here and get a license plate, which is handy because West Virginia is about 7 miles over there and 7 miles back that way. So a lot of people have bought a car out of state and they need somewhere to go to get it all notarized and titled and everything. We can do all that. Run your bill, Heather.
These modern services are balanced by a tradition of the past. The credit drawer's been around since the very beginning.
These are people's credit books. Each person gets their own little tablet and they can come in and they can say, hey, I need something, and we jot it on the tablet and they pay it every week or every month, however often they get paid. And I've been told by people this is their lifeline. I've been told by people it's great they don't have to remember their wallet. There's a couple hundred of these. These are the active ones, and then we have a box underneath where we keep, like, people aren't using them right now.
It's just another reason customers like Juanita Riley appreciate this store, but she's quick to tell you she really comes for the company.
I guarantee I'll tell my husband, okay, I have to go to Stokes' and get something. I'm like, I don't know when I'll be back, and he'll be like, okay. And I may come in and may pop in and out one time, or I may be here for an hour. You know, just chatting and talking or playing with the kids. Oh, they're hilarious. They're hilarious.
Would you trade this for anything?
No.
Why?
I wouldn't. I get to have my kids all day. I'm raising them, my husband's raising them. Would you like this, Mary Ellen? There's a lot of local people that I've become friends with, which is really fun.
And that's something we heard in all the places we visited. Tourism Director Elizabeth Menhart says it's all about the atmosphere.
The pace of life in Greene County is definitely very laid back. If you live in the city, you can kind of get away. It's only about an hour's drive away, so you can kind of almost take a little bit of a step back in time.
step back in time that celebrates a tradition of the past. Sure, each general store is first and foremost a business.
I start every day about 5:15.
7 in the morning till 7 at night.
I never thought living in the city I'd be hauling feet around either.
And some things have changed over the years.
We can't carry everything that they did back in the glory days. We try to carry everything that we can fit in the storage.
But one thing has stayed the same.
If you didn't come here every day, what would you do?
Well,
That's a hard question.
That's a hard
Yeah.
question. I've been here. I never miss one.
In the end, general stores are all about the people. From those who own and work in them,
I kind of had the general store urge in my blood.
to those who shop and gather here.
Hi, Matt. Matt lives across the street. Matt's here more than I am.
There's always time in a general store to stop, say hello, and hear what's new.
They just sit down and they'll tell you anything, and it's great.
You know, they know you by your first name. They ask how you are when you come in.
People just need some place to keep in touch with each other.
They're really, the glue that holds a community together.
It's not hard to do.
Emily. It's been worse. I've had a Toyota with a Ford in the back of it. A little Toyota to boot.